So, right, coming back to what I just read. And this is, I will preface this by saying that I'm not aware of anything regarding Mike Morhaime. I don't know if he's been accused of things, or I don't know if it's just that he's reflecting on a company that he basically was an integral part of for 28 years, and therefore he's looking back and seeing these allegations that are coming to light now, or have came to light, and he's just reflecting on that. I don't think the allegations accuse him specifically. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, guys. Please do, because I don't want to be misinformed. But to me, going off what I've read there, he seems like a fucking good guy. You know what I mean? Like he was just trying to make the company as safe of a place as possible. Not perfect, obviously. It's pretty damn hard to be perfect. We can strive to be perfect, but realistically, we're never going to be perfect. Human beings are flawed and will forever be flawed. The only reason we wouldn't be flawed is if we finally decided to embrace turning ourselves into mechanoids, which hopefully won't happen. But regardless, it seems like he's one of the good guys. And I am very much happy. Thanks for sharing it, Frey. I'm very much happy to hear that they are going on to do new things. So, Dreamhaven. Coming back to Dreamhaven. So, former CEO and co-founder of Blizzard Entertainment and a host of industry veterans today announced Dreamhaven, their new game company based in Irvine, California. Dreamhaven will create and publish original games for players around the world, and it has established its first two studios, Moonshot and Secret Door. I'm excited to team up with such talented people who care deeply about games and their communities, said Dreamhaven CEO Mike Morhaime. I've always believed in the power of games to bring people together, regardless of backgrounds or boundaries. Right, what he's saying right there is exciting, because that was the core, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but that was one of the core foundations of WoW that made WoW so fucking amazing back in the day, right? The community. It was the community that made it good. I don't know, am I wrong? Because it doesn't feel like it has a community anymore. Or should I say, it feels like the community is stretched thin, filled with infighting and bickering and toxicity. And all in all, just not a good place to be. Maybe that's a hot take. But the question I have, because I always do kind of look at these things with some skepticism, was World of Warcraft a product of its time? What did it have the success it did because it was so new, it was such a new idea, it was such a new concept, it was the first of its kind? Did people create the communities that they created within the game because of that? Or could the same thing happen today? That's a question for you guys. Do you think the same sort of thing could come about today? Could we see an MMO or a game? It doesn't have to be an MMO, I suppose. It could just be some form of multiplayer game, or I suppose just a single player game in some capacity. Could we see a game come from one of these studios that ushers in kind of like a new positive community building environment? Let me know what you think. Selby says, I think I'm going to commit to not buying another Blizzard game just on the basis of the Diablo Immortal shit now. Yeah, fuck Blizzard at the minute at least. Let's see if they can actually salvage it. The thing is, I don't have high hopes for them salvaging it because they've been on a downward spiral for years now. They promised, it feels as though there's like, we have little break peaks. Break? We have little like momentary peaks where Blizzard look like they've changed things around. Like when Dragonflight was first announced, it looked like it was going to be pretty fucking good. Now I'm not too certain now. I kind of think maybe it's been rushed. Maybe it's going to be really fucking disappointing. Either way, we'll see, I suppose. Yeah, so continuing what Selby was saying, creating that pay-to-win predatory bullshit just shows a complete lack of respect for customers. 100%. 100%. Continuing what Druid was saying, we don't know if the Hell Knight is dead, but we ran outside to inform the Adventurers Guild, and they went inside and managed to recover the bones of the Dwarven Smith ancestor. They did not find the Bone Knight. Oh fuck, that Bone Knight's going to be coming back with a vengeance. Shit. I never looked into the allegations. Got everything you need to know. Article up now. Oh, fantastic. I believe the Blizzard name has been defiled, and the good guys left and started with a new name. Fraser, I really hope that's the case. It would be really nice to think that it's as cut and dry as just the good guys left and now their company watch that space. It would be really nice to think that. The skeptic in me worries that maybe even though those are even if those are all the good guys and they're all good creatives, good people, whatever, the skeptic in me kind of thinks that, well, maybe WoW was a product of its time, and so even though they could create amazing games, we're never going to have something like WoW in its heyday again. But then again, with that being said, looking forward to Ashes of Creation. Looks so fucking good. Looks really fucking good. I talked about this last stream for a little bit. They released some, I think it was just like a couple of the devs playing, or at least walking around the world, and talking about the creation process. It didn't look perfect. And that was fucking great. It was so refreshing to see devs showing off their game and having it not be perfect. Why do I say that? Why do I say that the game, it's good that the game isn't perfect? Well, quite simply because every time I see a game that looks polished and perfect in some sort of developer show-off or developer showcase, I feel like 90% of the time when that game releases, it's still flawed with bugs. It's still filled with issues. It's still not a great game. However, taking a look at previous examples and seeing developers who have showcased their game and showcased the issues in it and showcased the ways that they are going to work on it and improve it, I feel like I've had much better experiences seeing the errors in games during showcases and then watching as the developers improve upon it, rather than seeing what would we even call it? A false representation of a game that looks perfect on screen and the developers are really proud of it and they're saying how it's perfect and it's going to be amazing, and then the game gets released and it's dog shit. You know? Maybe that's just me, but I feel like more often than not, if you're getting an early showcase of a game and it's very early on and it looks perfect, it's probably not. It's probably just, them showing you what you want to see as opposed to showing you the truth. So I love seeing flaws in games in early showcases, early trailers, whatever. I love seeing flaws because it shows that they accept responsibility for the fact that there's issues and they deal with it. The example I gave last stream was Sven from Larian, playing through Baldur's Gate 3 in a very, very early build. Most of the mechanics were broken and failed him in combat, and it resulted in a lot of laughter from the crowd. It resulted in a lot of laughter from both Sven and Jesse Cox, who was hosting the panel. They had a great time with it, and he addressed the fact that there's a long way to go. There's going to be a lot of issues that need to be fixed, but guess what? We're working on it. We're going to fix them. We're going to give you a game that you guys can be proud of playing and proud of buying. So I don't know. That's where I stand on it. I don't think there's much more to say about it. Probably roaming the sewers, catacombs, and dark streets of the city, says Druid. Probably. And Druid, probably prowling somewhere close to you guys, waiting for its moment to strike back, I would imagine. I think General's got a pretty damn exciting couple of sessions planned for you in the future. Let me see. Frey says, well, some of the crew stretches from Diablo to WoW to Warcraft and Starcraft, so anything is possible. I would love to. I really am glad that you've shared that, Frey, because I might not have even stumbled across that. But it's really exciting to think about some of the things that might come out of those or out of Dreamhaven. I played WoW for a long time, says Selby, from the beginning to when it started to die off. It was definitely a huge part of my and lots of people's lives, sorry. 100%. Like, there are entire communities, there are entire friendship groups that met through WoW. It was a massive part of people's lives. I keep thinking there must be so many people waiting for something big like that again. So why do all the new MMOs fail? Because they just don't have the same. That's a good question. Why do all the new MMOs fail? And I think there's a very simple answer that a lot of people try to argue against, but I think if you really think about it, it's just the truth. A lot of new MMOs just aren't good games. They don't have the same magic that WoW had. And I think also, going back to what I said earlier, that the question that I asked, maybe WoW was so good because it was the first of its kind, and because it was fresh, and because it hadn't been overdone, and because now, with every new MMO that gets released, we just see a recycling of the same old things that we've done, the same old things that, you know, games that we've played over and over and over and spent many hours in, and there's nothing really new and unique, you know? Maybe that's it. It's kind of what I think at the minute anyway. I feel like there's just not enough that's new. It's too late, you know? They split into several companies though, so this one is the last company. Oh yeah, I saw that one. Kind of reminds me of something Asmongold said, which is basically, you don't want a game like WoW was, you want to be back in... That's a great point, yeah. That's Asmon nailing another good point. Yeah, it's true. It's like how when you're... It's... The only, like, IRL comparison I can think to make is, like, when you're a teenager, some people have this experience, maybe not everyone, I certainly did. When I was a teenager, I fucking hated being a teenager. I wanted to be an adult. And now I'm an adult, I want to be a teenager again. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not that you want to be a teenager, it's just you want to relive the things that, like, that you went through, or at least relive that time in your life. And that's kind of probably what it's like for a lot of the people that are saying they want a game like WoW again. We don't want a game like WoW, we just want that feeling again. We're chasing the feeling and the sense of community. I don't know if we're chasing like an exact clone of what WoW was. Like, because let's face it, has Classic really scratched that itch for anyone? Is Classic really that good? That it's like, you know, it's satisfied that desire. I've heard a lot of people say it's great, but is it as good as the first time you played? Probably not, right? That's why like many of us have said the same thing. Oh, I wish I could wipe my memory and play such and such game for the first time again. It's because the first time is the best time, right? Loads of these new ambitious MMO projects with millions in crowdfunding end up never releasing. That's just a sad part of the game industry in general these days, right? What's that video? What's that video? What, this video? What's this? Let me see. Do I need to mute this? Selby, do I need to mute this, or is this okay to watch on stream? Blizzard, my respect for them has dropped. My respect for them has dropped, says Druid. And in my opinion, Blizzard's golden age, Blizzard's golden age has passed. And ever since WoW Shadowland, oh boy, they've been shitty. Yeah, I agree, Druid. Some game companies do have their golden age past, but they're still holding out. But Blizzard, they've tarnished their reputation and game. Druid, I 100% agree. They have gone down in flames. It's not just like they've declined. They've declined into like the pits of fucking hell, it feels like. The last company, Notorious Studios, has the story of, we are a video game studio startup founded by former developers of World of Warcraft and named after our guild of 17 years. That's so fucking wholesome. That's so fucking wholesome. This group of friends that played the game for 17 years, worked on the game. And you know what? We have the experience. We don't need to go through that all over again. Let's do it ourselves. Let's do it ourselves, and let's do it for like that, because that makes it seem as though they're not just doing it to make a great game and give it to the people, or to gamers, should I say. They're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for the sense of like, the sense of pride that you get when you have a group of friends that you do something together with, and you work on a project. And even if the project fails, you have all of the memories of working on that project. You know? That video I linked is about Chronicles of Illyria, a game that raised 1.36 million in 2016 for this insanely ambitious MMO support. 2016? Chronicles of Illyria. I'm gonna take a look at the link. I'm not gonna show it on stream for the sake of like maybe not getting a DMCA strike or something. However, also I don't have. Also, that I'm getting hit by ads, so you know that's not fun. But I'm gonna take a look at it just to see if I recognize it. Intro. Oh, so this is actually a video that goes over how it failed rather than like the gameplay itself. This looks vaguely familiar, but then again, at this point, I think all MMOs are blurring together in my mind, especially the crowdfunded ones, because yikes. So they basically went years without producing anything, and people slowly got angrier and angrier. To this day, the guy insists that the game will come out eventually, so he doesn't owe anyone a refund. That's fucking disgusting. I mean, at the end of the day, you when you crowdfund a game, you're never... I've crowdfunded stuff in the past that hasn't came out. Have I been angry that it didn't come out? Yes. But am I entitled to a refund? No, because I crowdfunded it. That's the danger of crowdfunding. However, it's kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that you expect something to come out, and game developers that use crowdfunding should respect the fact that, of course, the fans are going to expect something to be released. Just something. Some progress updates. Some report of what's going on. At the same time, when you crowdfund, I think that it should be more of a widely understood and respected fact that when we crowdfund games, it could go badly. That's just the honest truth, right? It could go badly. The magic of the first time is something that you cannot replicate no matter what you've done, says Ranger. Ranger, welcome to chat. That's 100%, yeah, exactly what I mean. The first time sitting down and playing a game, let me take you back. Some of you in chat are probably going to, as soon as I say this, you're going to be like, oh, fucking hell, not again. But let me take you back to for those of you who put the game disc into your console or played, booted the game up on your PC for the first time. You clicked new game, you were met with a dark screen, and the screen slowly faded to the snowy mountains around you, and the sound of horse feet trotting on a road. And then you heard the voice, "You're finally awake!" Playing Skyrim for the first time. Like, I remember that. It was so fucking good. I got goosebumps. The first time my character's eyes opened and I saw, is it Rayloff? I think it's Rayloff. I saw Rayloff and he said, "You're finally awake." And then I looked around and saw Ulfric and what was the other guy called? I forget his name. He's not really important. The horse thief. I saw them and that was like, wow. And then making my character for the first time in Skyrim, and then getting out into the world and experiencing everything for the first time. Oh, it's so good. But it's hard to relive that, like, ever. In fact, I would say it's nigh on impossible to relive that. You can never relive the first time. It's the same with anything. The first time you tried Coca-Cola. The first time you tried a Big Mac. The first time you tried KFC. The first time you watched what is now your favorite movie, whatever your favorite movie is. The first time you watched it. Why is it now your favorite? It's an amazing feeling, right? They've not only declined, they've burned and thrown the ashes into the abyss, and what's left is the blizzard now. Sadly, that is the case. Serene, welcome. I don't know if it was Asmongold or Josh Strife who said it. Josh Strife Hayes, sorry. Both of those guys. I really like both of those guys. I actually I don't really watch a lot of either of their content, but some of you guys in chat kind of put me onto them and directed me their way. And I have watched like 1 or 2 videos by them, and or should I say a couple of Josh Strife clips, and obviously a couple of Asmongold clips as well. But yeah, they have 2 incredibly well put together people who are intelligent and definitely have much better things to say about these topics than I do. Something along the lines of, you remember the good times with your friends because of the adversaries. That's a good point as well. That's a good point as well. Jeez. And that applies there. Think about, so for those of you who play D&D here, for instance, think about the games, because Druid kind of reminded me of this when Druid was talking about their session they've just played. So Druid, this is what I pose to you. Think about the end of that session where the guild, you know, they exit the catacombs after they've went in to investigate, and they come out and they say to you, there were no remains of the Bone Knight. We didn't find it. And the look that you guys must have all just sort of like, what? Given to each other after that. The adversaries, they make it. They make the good memories. Spark says also about MMOs. I just think that the current generation don't really like it. It's just like 3D platformers. FPS and TBS games take such a large part of gaming in the modern days that MMOs just don't succeed like they used to. Spark, I think that's a very good point. There's many contributing factors that go to it. There's not just like one factor, obviously, but that is definitely one of them. Because at the end of the day, when WoW was popular, I don't think gaming really was popular when WoW was popular. You know what I mean? I think when WoW was popular, it was still kind of the case that if you said you played video games, you were a nerd. You know? Now everybody plays video games. If everybody plays video games, then does that make everyone a nerd? Well, no, because now that everyone plays video games have become somewhat more diluted, somewhat more universally appreciated, or at least the manner behind the creation process that game studios seem to adopt is that their game must be universally appreciated. It cannot have a niche community. That seems like the way that a lot of big studios of, you know, sort of AAA games always seem to go. They go down the route of, oh well, we need to make sure our game can be appreciated by everyone. It doesn't matter about a loyal fan base. A very small loyal fan base just doesn't seem to matter to big AAA studios anymore. Or, I mean, you don't even really have to be a AAA studio to have that sort of concept. There's a lot of studios, that even small studios, that seem to have that concept of just like, we want to make a game that everyone loves, or everyone at least likes and everyone buys, even if we don't have a really strong niche sort of highly supportive community. Skyrim sucks, says Selby. So Selby, did you ever play Skyrim and you were like, oh, this is fun, or have you just always hated it? And if so, if you've always hated Skyrim, did you enjoy any of the other Elder Scrolls games? Serene says, you know what, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and let's do this. I think this makes more sense, right? For the time being. Nowadays, everyone plays lots of games. Back in the WoW days, you were kind of just like a WoW nerd who spends 24/7 on it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though, is there? Because if you have one game that you really love and you play it like non-stop, you don't have to buy as many video games. You don't need to. You just love that game, so you play that game. Nothing wrong with that. If anything, the way that games work these days, the whole idea that like there's constantly new games coming out and you have to buy every single one and you must play every single one, you must try every single one. The whole idea of that's kind of a toxic concept, right? It's like crass consumerism at its worst. Especially when you see that like most of the big most of the big reviewers and like sites that do reviews for games are incredibly fucking biased and corrupt. Like if you check out Metacritic, head over to Metacritic. Head over to Metacritic. Critic. That one. You fucking know what I mean, okay? Head over to that site and take a look at some of the game reviews on there. The critics rate them as like 87 out of 100, 90 out of 100. 100 out of 100. The user reviews rate them at like 2 or 3 out of 100. It's like, come on, guys. You really expect us to think that you're not somehow fucking corrupt within the industry if you're giving the game a totally polar opposite review to what users give it? It's bullshit. Crass consumerism. Mwah, we love it. Says the guy who's streaming on Twitch. Druid says, yeah, the most memorable memories are the ones where we struggle. Like that one time that we almost lost the battle for Ashhorn against the Undead Demon Army. 100%. Or just today where we struggled to fight the Bone Knight. Or that one time you almost got frozen to death by Oral. The struggles are what makes it compelling and exciting and like, oh shit, we might not actually survive this. And when you go through something like that with friends, I think when you go through something like that with friends, it strengthens your friendship. And it means that even in the years to come, if you don't have those friends around anymore, you're still gonna have fond memories of them. I know that's certainly the case for me. I've had a lot of people that I've played video games with in the past, that I've played tabletop games with, well, D&D with, that I don't speak to anymore. I don't hear from. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know where they live anymore. I don't know what they do for a living. I don't know what games they're playing. I don't talk to them. Sometimes you just grow distant from people. Sometimes there's a good reason for being distant from people. But that doesn't affect your memories of the good times that you had, you know what I mean? And a lot of those good times are, like we have established in chat, a lot of those good times are playing games, whether it be tabletop or video game, facing adversaries and challenges and overcoming them, or failing. Failing can be fun, you know?